What's going on, guys? Back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the latest film in the Alien franchise, Alien Romulus. Directed by Fede Alvarez, who did the Evil Dead remake from a few years ago. I was actually quite excited for this film because I am a big fan of the Alien franchise, even some of the lesser popular titles that would ensue in the late 90s. But really excited. I know the last couple didn't really deliver for me. I was a big fan of Prometheus, and Alien Covenant kind of let me down, even though it had a lot of really great ideas, but not a film that I quite enjoyed. But what really got me excited was that I read that there was going to be a lot of practical effects used in the film, and that got me excited. And of course, the latest trend in theaters, popcorn buckets. This is the AMC exclusive, and it's just the minute I saw this, I knew I had to have this. Obviously, different chains have different things. You got the Xenomorph head, you have one that glows on one of the other ones, but that's the one I wanted to get, and seeing it in Dolby was quite the experience. The movie I'm kind of split on, because there were things I liked about it. I liked that there is this unsettling feeling, and the atmosphere is captured very well. The practical effects, I said, I really liked. I do like that there's a lot of homage to all the other Alien films, because it pays homage to nearly all of them. And the actors do well with what the script allows them to do. It's also a very well shot film. Might not be on film, but it still looks pretty good. As far as problems with this film, I feel like 2024 has been the year of throwbacks and fan service, and that's really what you're getting here. If you want to see something you've already seen before with a lot of callbacks and nostalgia to other Alien films, specifically the first one and Aliens, the James Cameron film, you're going to enjoy this movie. If you're coming in here expecting an original script or for them to do something more original with the premise, you're not going to get that here. And I kind of went in knowing that that was going to be the case. I just wanted to have a good time, and the emphasis being the face huggers and not so much the xenomorphs was something I was like, you know what, this is a good thing to try out this time, because we're always focusing on xenomorphs and the different breeds that come out of that. This film still has xenomorphs though. It does some things. The different species are explored, and the action is there, the tension is there throughout. The characters could have been written better. They're not super interesting characters. I also don't think that this film took enough risks to tell the story it does, because, you know, you gotta think that we have this is the 7th film in the franchise, and every film has had the same exact premise. Some things tweaked here or there to change some of the ideas. Mostly, I think the most ambitious one has been Prometheus, and even Covenant had some really good ideas, but I feel like those were kind of abandoned to reboot Alien, and I feel like they've tried to reboot Alien several times now, and this one I feel like is a more well-crafted product. It is very respectful of the original films, and that's why there's a lot of homage to them. Because it wants to coexist with those films, but at the same time, it wants to bring a new audience, a much younger crowd to enjoy these films and maybe discover some of the older films. It reminds me a lot of The Force Awakens, and unfortunately, what it didn't do to the franchise, because Force Awakens was a very safe film, and it was trying to bring back 3 generations of Star Wars fans, the old ones, the ones that grew up with the prequels, and obviously the newest generation. And it was solid for what it was. And that is what I have to say about the newest film, Alien Romulus. It's a solid film if you go in and you're a fan of the original Alien films. There's something to enjoy here. Obviously, the characters are not as good. The story is very similar, and I don't think that it reaches the tension or the thrills that the original 2 brought, but there is enough here to enjoy some aspects of it. The material is approached in a very respectful manner. You can actually tell that Fede Alvarez put a lot of passion into bringing this story to life, even if it is very familiar, which is why I'm a little disappointed, because On one end, I appreciate what went into this film, but I also think story-wise, there's just not enough ambition here to tell something new. It's sort of a reboot, but it's also set between the first and second film. If I remember correctly, I think it was like 20 years after the first film. And there's just things that don't work. There's a lot of, well, how does that happen? Well, why is this person here? Or I guess this new breed. And I feel like when you have a story that you've been repeating conceptually 7 times over, it has to end differently, which is why I respect Prometheus so much more, because it ends in a very ambitious way, and we needed this film to approach it the same way, because we don't know any of these characters. If you're telling me this is set between the first and second film, why is it that we don't see these characters later on? Why are they never mentioned? So if we're trying to dump this movie and try to make it canon, at least make it canon. Almost to the likes of, like, again, I return to Star Wars Rogue One. I think that is a film that tackled it very well, and that's a movie that also enhanced the original Star Wars film. When I watch this film, I don't see the connection between the first film and the second film, and how it serves as a bridge to connect the both movies or enhance either film. Yes, there is some callbacks to the first and the second film, and certain things that are said that are, in another film, and it's there. The homage is there. But did this movie enhance either two movies? It did not. And I don't feel like this is a movie that I need to watch when I see the first one or the second one. Overall, it's a film that I enjoyed watching, but Deadpool and Wolverine was also a movie that I enjoyed watching. Would I watch it again? Probably not. And it's more or less the same thing I have to say about this film. I enjoyed watching it. I don't have any real need to revisit this film again, though. Probably won't be. And while I don't think it's definitely not anywhere near the original Alien or even Aliens. But if we're going to be talking about like the later Alien films, of whether I enjoyed this over Alien 3 or Alien Resurrection, it's definitely better than Alien Resurrection. Alien 3, I feel like, had a lot of good ideas, but wasn't really executed in a good way. So while I might prefer Alien 3 and I have a better chance of rewatching that film, I do think this is a better made film, and why people would gravitate towards this one. Obviously, Alien Resurrection is terrible. And there's even a callback to that movie in this film, so it's pretty funny. Prometheus, it doesn't hold a candle to Prometheus. And even Alien Covenant, while I do think that this is better than Alien Covenant, I do appreciate the cinematography a little bit more and the abstract ideas and what they do with certain characters in that film, as much as I'm not a fan of that film. So kind of a mixed bag for me for this film. There's going to be an Alien TV show coming out next year. I don't think that it ties into anything with this movie. I'm curious what they will do with this franchise, because this felt like a reboot. Like it tried to make some connections with all the films while also pressing the reset button. So I'm curious if this movie does financially well, if there are going to be other, if there's going to be sequels to this, and if they lead up to the TV show, if it connects somehow to the TV show, and how this reimagining of the original is going to do. So as much as I appreciate what it's doing for maybe the newer generation coming in, because not everybody maybe wants to see a movie from the 70s or the 80s, I still gotta go with the original Alien and Aliens, far superior movies. This was enjoyable, but kind of a letdown at the same time. So with that being said, I'm gonna be giving Alien Romulus a C+, and a star rating of 3 out of 5. So those were my thoughts on Alien Romulus. If you have seen the movie, please comment your thoughts down below if you enjoyed it, if you hated it. I do see this as being a movie that divides the audience a little bit, but if you're okay with fan service, which has been a common theme this year, then you might get something out of it. And if you like the video, please do give it a thumbs up down there below. I will also include my Letterboxd account down below as well. That's where I review all my movies. That is the place to find me and see what I'm watching up to date. And yeah, if you could subscribe to the channel as well, I'd really appreciate it. And I will see you guys in a later video.